In the previous video, I talked about how much more gear you have to take with you when you use the Zoom F6 versus the Zoom H6. Because the F6 doesn't have microphones, it doesn't have combo jacks, you have to bring along stuff to solve that problem if that's what you need. And in fact, for what I do, look at me play guitar videos, I do have to bring all that stuff along. So this demo is to try to show why it's worth hauling all that extra gear, paying the extra money for the Zoom F6. And the reason I find it worthwhile is that it eliminates a big problem for me. I have a problem setting the levels when I'm doing look at me play guitar videos, especially with my buddy. I am the director and producer and cameraman, and I'm also the audio person and the performer. So I have to get all those details right, and something that reduces the things I have to think about and remember and get right is an improvement for me. And the F6 does that because it has such an enormous dynamic range that it's almost impossible to clip. It's almost impossible to deliver a signal that's too low, that sinks into the noise floor, because the noise floor is really down there. So I'm going to demonstrate by playing the guitar. I've got mics on the H6 and on the F6. I'm using a pair of KSM 141s for the F6. And I have my pickup plugged straight into the combo jack on the H6 and going through an impedance matching unbalancing transformer setup thing that I bought for about 25 bucks for the F6, and a little splitter here that lets me break my guitar pickup out into two devices. So I'm going to play as soft as I can and then kind of medium level and then really hit it, and we'll get the clips that result from that and take them over to the computer and look at them in Reaper and see what we can do with the different clips after we've done this little demo. So here we go. Soft, then medium, then loud. The softest I can play is something like this. And the way I normally play is more like this. And the loudest I can play is like this. Now, that should provide us with a little indication of the dynamic range issues. Well, that recording session is a good illustration of the kind of problems that the F6 is going to cure for me. I set the levels wrong on the pickup recordings, and I just clipped the heck out of the pickup recording going into the H6. This was supposed to be the medium level, and so, it should have looked something like that, but I had the gain cranked too hard, and so even the medium level is clipped pretty badly. If I had done this when I was trying to shoot a video, especially one that was a performance that I couldn't recapture later, I would be frustrated. There's just no fix for this. So I'm going to skip over this, although I can point out that if we were using the F6 here and we hit F2 and normalize and OK, it would bring back the signal perfectly. There's no way to do that with the H6. In fact, if we do, you'll see that because it's literally clipped off, it doesn't change a thing. I mean, that is a normalized signal. It's just normalized, totally clipped out and unusable. But if we go back to the mic comparison, so there's the two tracks of F6 microphone, and then there's the stereo tracked from the H6. And we can see that they're all clipped to some greater or lesser degree. Now, once again, when I go into the H6 and I go clip properties, normalize, okay, nothing happens because these guys are clipped, they're whacked off, and normalize just raises that clipped signal up to the 0 dB mark. If I do the same thing with the F6, F2, normalize, okay, and F2, normalize, okay, and there we are. These signals are recovered, they sound fine, and they're completely usable. Now, if I want to deal with different signals, the easy way to do this in Reaper is to normalize, because that applies a big old whack of gain up or down immediately. So I would make a time selection, and then I would split at the time selection and normalize one section at a time. So now it's taken that very low-level signal and cranked it up. I can then go on to the next one, do the same split, and normalize that. There you go. And of course, we already have the high-level signal normalized down. So those are the kind of fixes we can apply in post when we're using 32-bit float recording. If I made a boo-boo, cranked the gain too much, clipped the heck out of things, or didn't give it enough gain, and so it was a little tiny quiet signal way down there. In either case, with the F6 32-bit float recording and those super low noise preamps, I can just bring that signal back, attach it to my video, and I'm on my way. I don't have to worry about coming back tomorrow and trying to capture it again. So that's the reason why I'm willing to put up with the extra cost and the extra equipment necessary to record with the F6 rather than the H6. Now I'm going to put up the original tracks so you can download them from the Homebrewed Music blog. And I certainly hope that in the midst of all this fooling around, you found something useful.